Chapter 10, The Birth of the EdL. We were on fire after that second Uphill demo. Felt like we'd cracked something open. People were waking up, looking around, finally realizing what was happening in their own backyards. Messages started rolling in, support, stories, blokes sharing what was going on in their towns. This wasn't just Luton anymore. This was national, and we knew it. The internet changes the game. Back in the day, you needed the newspapers to back you if you wanted to start a movement. You needed funding, influence, connections. Now, all you needed was a video, a viral post, and suddenly you were everywhere. So we paid 450 quid for a video of our UPL march. Best money we ever spent. That video took off. People shared it on football forums, Newcastle, Birmingham, London. Lads up and down the country watching it, talking about it, asking, "What's going on in Luton?" That's when we knew this was bigger than us now. Setting up shop. We set up a Facebook page called British Citizens Against Muslim Extremists and launched a basic website, Save Luton. Simple stuff. A petition calling for Aspios against those preachers standing in town center, screaming their hate against Britain, against our soldiers, against everything we stood for. And still, no one did a thing. Then the media clocked on. Journalists started sniffing around, looking for the guy behind the movement. Last thing I needed was my name plastered all over the news this early on, so we gave them a bit of misdirection. They traced the website back to some bloke, Matt Varga. Reporters rocked up to his house, snapped a picture of him leaning out the window. Next day, the papers are calling him the man behind the movement. It wasn't him. Then we sent our mate Keir to meet the press, told him to say whatever he wanted. Keir didn't care. Meanwhile, I stayed in the background, keeping things moving. The fake protest in London. Next thing, we get a message from some geezer online. Name's Dave Shaw. Profile picture is just a massive 3 Lions England tattoo across his back. He tells us, "Millwall lads and local boys are taking to the streets. You should come down." Sounded legit. We get a crew together, 30 of us, plus a few lads from Bristol and Newcastle. Head down to London expecting to see this protest, except there wasn't one. There was no Dave Shaw. We'd been set up, led on a wild goose chase. So there we were, sat in a pub, 30 of us talking shop. Police parked outside, watching our every move. We decided to take a little walk through Whitechapel, singing England football songs, heading toward Whitechapel Mosque. Not causing trouble, just making our presence known. By the time we got near the Blind Beggar pub, it was clear this wasn't going to end well. 1,000 of them were waiting for us. No exaggeration. A full-on mob. Police saw what was about to happen and rushed us out of there sharpish. We weren't there to get battered, so we took the exit while we could. The name, the logo, the movement. At this point, it was obvious. This wasn't just some local thing anymore. We needed a name. We needed an identity. We tossed ideas around and landed on English Defence League, EdL. It said exactly what we stood for. We needed a logo, something strong, something historic. We went with the Knights Templar Cross. Then it happened. The Daily Star ran a picture of one of our lads wearing an EdL Luton Division t-shirt. That was it. That was the moment. Suddenly, I was getting messages from all over the country. How do we start our own division? We need this where we live. Our town's just as bad as yours. What can we do? People were angry. They'd been ignored for too long. Their communities were changing, and no one in power was listening. Now they had something to rally behind. The first test, walking into the lion's den. Now that we had a name, we needed to show what we were about. We heard that the Islamic Forum of Europe was holding a big conference in London. We showed up. 15 of us, all in our EdL hoodies, walked straight into the hotel lobby. And then we realized there were 2,000 of them. Not exactly even odds. We sat quietly in the corner, waiting to see what happened. Didn't take long before the police turned up, took one look at the numbers. You lot should leave before this gets out of hand. For once, I was happy to listen. Chaudhry's public conversion stunt. Then we saw that Anjem Chaudhry, that radical preacher, was running his Islamic roadshow. Imagine this. Middle of a UK city. Massive banner that says, "Jesus was a Muslim." He gets some young white lad on stage and converts him to Islam on the spot. No outrage, no headlines, no one bats an eye. Now imagine if we had stood in the middle of Luton and done the opposite, converted a Muslim lad to Christianity in public. It would have been chaos. That was the moment it clicked. This wasn't just about extremists in the streets. The double standard went all the way to the top. So we decided to hit Chudari where it hurt. Next event was planned in Wood Green. We got in a van, balaclavas on, banners ready. We weren't playing games. It got messy. One of our lads even got clipped by a bus, but we managed to shut the event down. And just like that, Chudari pulled his roadshow dates from the website. He wasn't so keen on public conversions anymore. The beginning of something bigger. By now, EdL was real. It wasn't just an idea anymore. The media hated us. The police were watching us. The government feared us. And we weren't stopping. We weren't backing down. And this was just the beginning.